This is my favorite view of Maastricht. Everyone knows about housing shortage and how bad it is. And let's be frank, housing crisis in the Netherlands may be one of the worst of all Europe. The good thing is, I know so much about rental search, sometimes I even think sharing it is illegal. Stick with me and I'll cover everything. Where to live in Maastricht and should you even live in Maastricht? How long does rental search take? What platforms should you use? And spoiler, most people use the wrong ones. How to apply for houses. For every point I'll include advice you've probably never heard of. And let's start with my story. I'm Yuri. I moved to the Netherlands in 2022, initially to The Hague. My budget was up to 1500 euros. I wasn't even invited for one viewing for an apartment with a price below 2000 euros. I needed a place urgently, so I ended up renting something for 2500 euros per month, including utilities. This is my apartment in The Hague. It's good. Windows didn't really open in the bedroom. Overall, it was fine. It was close to the beach. But the only issue with that is that it just wasn't worth 2500 euros per month. And I quickly realized that it was crazy. Luckily, at the time, my wife and I, we both worked remotely and we thought, hey, maybe there are other places in the Netherlands where we would like to live. So we started traveling and then one day we wanted to go to Groningen, which is a city in the north of the country. But it was raining and there was a train leaving to Maastricht. And we were like, hey, let's change our plan, let's go to Maastricht. And then we arrived to Maastricht and we were shocked. It was so beautiful. We liked everything about the city. We liked the vibe, the architecture, the weather. Everything was just so great. And we instantly knew we are gonna live here. And on our way back, we were already checking Funda for houses that are available here. We started booking viewings and we instantly realized housing in Maastricht is 10 times better than in Randstad. And if you didn't know, Randstad is this mega city in the Netherlands, which is basically all villages, towns and cities between four main Dutch cities, Rotterdam, The Hague, Utrecht and Amsterdam. As much as we loved the city, we didn't like the housing in Maastricht. The buildings were old and the windows were small and we were used to these 4-meter ceilings, you know. Initially we were afraid of seeing houses outside of Maastricht in province, but then we quickly realized, hey, this is where the best housing actually is located. So this is what I rent for 1500 euros in a village 30 minutes by bus from Maastricht. There is a castle here and it has a huge land around it, which is beautiful. And this is called Koetshuis, I think, in Dutch. I think it used to be a place where they would store carriages and horses, but now they changed it to a apartment building. So this one is divided into 3 apartments and I occupy one of them, and this one. That is how my apartment looks from the inside. We have a kitchen, we have a living room, dining table, windows, we have air conditioning and we have floor heating. That's my favorite place of the house, the bedroom. It's just pretty minimalistic, but it has these huge windows, which I just love. And we have a trampoline. Trampoline is the best thing you could have in your backyard. Let's get cozy here. So you see, Netherlands is a very small country and public transport here is great. Therefore, you can get almost from anywhere to anywhere within an hour. And it is an advantage of a small country. This is a list of cities that have great commute to Maastricht. If you ever do rental search, please consider them. The only issue with that is cost of public transport. If you have an employer, they normally pay for your transport. If you just want to live here in the area, you don't really care about it that much because you will not be traveling to Maastricht every day. But if you are a student, not living in Maastricht will become pretty costly for you. So probably you should still consider living in Maastricht or very close to it because of the prices. I also have to say that if you have a European passport, living in Belgium is a great option. Housing is cheaper there, but again, you will have to commute. This option does not apply for students or internationals that don't have a European passport, because if you are here on a visa, you really have to live in a country where you study, which in your case is probably the Netherlands. And if we talk about Maastricht, the city is small, so no need to worry about your district. You can get almost from anywhere to city center within 15 minutes by bike. Alright, so how long does it take to find a house in the Netherlands? The ideal window to start your rental search is roughly 2 to 3 months before your expected move-in date. Here's why. If you start too early, let's say 4 months in advance, there will be no houses on the market available yet. If you start 2 months in advance or less, that will mean that you'll be under pressure to make a quick decision, which will lead to you agreeing on a property that you don't like, or a one that it's too expensive, or not finding one at all. So start your rental search 3 months in advance. That's the perfect time frame. You'll have enough time to maybe even say no to a few options. Next topic. What rental platforms should you consider? The competition for houses is fierce, and there will be hundreds of others applying for the same houses as you do. Therefore, you have to create as wide pipeline of houses as possible. Don't focus on just one platform. Use as many platforms as possible. Lucky you, I looked up every rental platform in Maastricht, so here they are. Probably it's better if you make a screenshot. Obviously, checking all these platforms 5 to 7 times a day is an impossible task, and if you want to succeed, you need to do it. So you should use Upland, mostly free tool. It basically combines all these houses from all these different platforms into one feed. So instead of checking 20 platforms, you can just check one. It will have all these houses. Another great feature of Upland is that you can set up your address, your office, or your university, set up how long do you want to travel there, by car, by foot, by bike, or by public transport, and then it will only display you houses or rooms that are within this travel time. Some of the platforms that I showed are free, some of them are paid. Upland will always show you their analysis of each platform so that you can take your decision whether you want to subscribe. My advice is spend a few €100, subscribe to paid platforms, but then have as many houses you apply to as possible. And eventually that almost always saves you a lot of money on the rent that you are going to pay, or just on time that you spend on rental search.
I just realized that I completely forgot to mention Facebook. Facebook is a controversial place to do rental search. On the one hand, it has a lot of houses available, but on the other hand, there is just so much scam on Facebook. So I personally try to avoid rental search on Facebook, but it makes sense for a lot of students. In the description, I'll leave a link to a spreadsheet where I try to collect every possible Facebook group in Maastricht.
All right. Let's move on. You have created a wide pipeline of houses. Next step is to schedule a viewing, or frankly, even get a reply from a landlord. Here are several ways on how to increase your chances of landing a viewing. Advice number 1 is be the first person to apply on a new list. You may remember earlier I told you that you may need to check platforms 5 to 7 times a day, and it's true. You have to be one of the first people to react on a new listing. On Upland, there are these toggles. You can opt in to receive notifications about new houses on your phone or your email. My device is just pay for it. That way, whenever there is a new house on the market that fits your criteria, you will receive this notification, and then you can be the first person to submit your application as soon as possible. And a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to be checking platforms once a day. No, that doesn't work. You really have to be as quick as possible, but you don't want to be the first person to get rejected. Just think about it from the landlord side. They receive these 600 applications. They see your message. Something is not clear to them from your message. They're not gonna write you and ask you to provide them with more data. They will just pick another person that has provided sufficient data. This is why your viewing application message must be as detailed as possible. Again, on Upland, you can just create this message automatically. It's free. Otherwise, if you are a working professional, you must include data about your income, your employer, whether you have 30% ruling or not, how much money do you have in bank, whether you have spouse, and then their income information as well. If you are a student, you need to provide data about your university, what do you study, and then everything about your sponsors, because probably you don't have income yourself. How much do your sponsors make? How much money can they prove in their bank account? And of course, the higher this digit is, the better. Advice number 3. If you use platforms that promote houses from real estate agents, these platforms are Funda or Parados, then after you submit your application, you should go to the real estate agent's website, find this property manually, and then submit your application on their website as well. This will increase your chances because some real estate agents prioritize applications that were sent on their website rather than ones that were sent on Funda or Paradios. Device number 4. After you submit your application on a platform and then maybe on real estate agency's website, you should call them. Yes, that is uncomfortable, but in Maastricht and Limburg, a lot of agencies, they schedule viewings by phone. And if you just call them, the probability that you will get ahead of your competition is high. Again, upfront, after you submit an application, if you have this browser extension installed, they will display you the name of the agency and their phone number so that you could call them. My advice, call them. Again, it is uncomfortable, but it will increase your chances. My phone memory died, so I guess I'll continue recording this tomorrow.
We're back. Now, let's say you are successful and you get invited to a viewing. Before you go there, and I will repeat that, before you go there, you need to have your application at hand because you want to be the first person to submit your offer after you go to a viewing. Documents that you need to collect include essential documents and non-essential ones. Essential are proof of your identification and proof of your income. For working professionals, it's quite straightforward. You just need to collect your working agreement, employer statement, and payslips. In a description, I will leave a link to an article where it is very clearly described what are the documents that you have to collect, especially for students and people that cannot prove their income or people that have sponsors. So just read it there. I will not dive into peculiarities. Non-essential documents will also be described in the same article, and they most often include motivation letter, references from previous landlords, video about you, just a short one where you record who you are, where you're from, and what's your purpose, and some of your personal photos. If your application looks like that, the probability that you are gonna get approved is way higher. You should store your documents in Google Drive, make sure to turn on view for everyone access, and some landlords will ask you to upload these documents to their website. Some will ask you to attach them manually one by one to an email. Some will not care and you can then just send a link. Important that you should still keep all of them in your Google Drive because then you can access them quickly. Documents are ready. Now you are on a viewing. And viewings are an interesting topic because for 70% of houses, it's not possible to do an online viewing. You really have to be there in person because a landlord or a real estate agent want to do their vibe check. For 30% of houses, it is possible to do an online viewing. And for students and rooms, most houses allow online viewings, whereas for working professionals, most houses do not allow online viewings. On Append, you can schedule a viewing yourself and then ask someone to go there and record the video so that you can send someone to attend your viewing for a house that does not allow online viewings. Now, when you go to a viewing, make sure to arrive at least 15 minutes earlier, and it's super important because a lot of people just cannot find the right door and then you have a little bit of this buffer. Secondly, on a viewing, make sure to talk to landlord or real estate agents. Tell them your case, make yourself memorable so that when you submit your offer, they're like, hey, I've seen this guy or girl. And thirdly, make sure to dress in a way that will tell the prospective landlord or real estate agent that you'll take good care of the property. On a viewing, you should ask two key questions. Question number one is, how do I submit my documents? Because every real estate agent or landlord wants you to submit your offer in a different way. Some want you to submit your offer on their website. Some want you to fill a form and attach it to an email. Some want you to just email them. If email, which email? You have to make sure the application procedure is clear. And second question, what offer should I make to make sure that I get the property? Because sometimes if you just ask it directly, you will get a very straight answer. Hey, offer 50 euros more per month and you will get the property, or prepay several months in advance, or I don't care about money, but I care about whether you will keep my property in good state or not. And then you can know instantly what should you focus on in your offer letter. Now, submitting offer is also important, and in the same way as with viewing request message, you can pass this quiz on Upland and then it will generate a perfect offer letter automatically. So again, my advice is don't overthink that. Just go to Upland, just create your offer letter. It will help you a lot. And then your offer letter has to be really good and it has to be professional and proper. Now, this is 90% of advice that you can ever get. It's definitely 90% more than you ever got. I hope that I was a little bit useful to you in this video. I just want to give you a little words of appreciation and tell you that yes, finding a house in the Netherlands is hard. It sucks. I hate it as much as almost everyone else hates it. But as soon as you pass this stage and as soon as you do find a house, your life gets so much better and so much easier and your life gets perfect because Netherlands is an awesome country to live in and I'm in love with this country as well as hundreds and millions of other people that live here are also in love with this country. So as soon as you do find your house, your life will get so much better. And even though for a lot of people this process of finding a house, being intimidated by all these agents, feeling like you are no one, it is super intimidating, but it is something we all have to go through. And just know that you are not alone. There are hundreds of others that do that, and I will leave my email in the description. And if you feel it is emotionally challenging for you, just drop me an email and I'll try to help you out for as much as I can. Now, I wish you success in your rental search, and I hope you will land your dream house, or in these conditions, even just a house. Success!